We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Wow. Sergiy Derevyanchenko says that Golden Boy and Team Canelo never sent him an offer. It was merely talks for them to potentially fight. Oh, we got to set the record straight on this one. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Use the link below to sign up for the Patreon. I got some fun stuff coming. We're doing the group sessions, getting this boxing talk out, and it feels great. So if you want to become part of the extended Eagles Army family and be a part of that, you definitely know where to click. Or you can hit the join button below this video by the subscribe button and join to become a YouTube channel member. It definitely helps the channel continue to pump out and fuel out content. You know, the stuff y'all need, the stuff that boxing needs. Appreciate y'all. Now let's talk about it. Now I'm making this video because this is what I do. I talk about what I want to talk about. New media. There's a lot of people. Canelo right now, he says he wants to fight on the quote unquote Mexican dates, second week of September. That's been the case. And the last couple of times he's had problems. Last September, Mexican Independence Day weekend in America, he couldn't fight. He was trying to fight Kovalev. Negotiations ran too long. So Kovalev said, yo, I'm fighting my mandatory Anthony Yard. You're taking too long. You're not. We didn't arrive at the number that I want. So I'm fighting Yard, my mandatory. You took too long. Then they try to negotiate with Derevyanchenko for a brief period of time. Wasted too much time with Kovalev. So Canelo, you know, couldn't agree on a number with Derevyanchenko. So that too fell apart. So last year, Canelo became the franchise champion with the WBC. And he lost his IBF, got stripped of his IBF because Roberto Diaz of Golden Boy had made a deal with the IBF. If we don't deliver the fight and agree with the Derevyanchenko, who was Canelo's mandatory, Canelo beat Jacobs and became the IBF champion. So Canelo had to fight Derevyanchenko, right? And he didn't. So as a result, he didn't meet that deadline. Boom, stripped him of the belt. And Golovkin and Derevyanchenko was then made for the vacant belt, the number 1 and number 2 people. It was a good fight. I don't think a lot of people anticipated Golovkin looking poorly, but he did. I thought Derevyanchenko won, and the rest is history. Now, Derevyanchenko didn't get credit for the win, but most people watching that fight that I've seen believe that Derevyanchenko should have won. So, rumors started circulating that Canelo Alvarez could fight Derevyanchenko again, you know, and they were saying he would fight him, bring him up to 168. Then those rumors, we didn't really hear anything else about them for quite some time. And now the latest rumors and industry sources and other reporters are pointing to the information suggesting that Sergiy Derevyanchenko could fight Jermall Charlo at his current division where he's fought his best names, Golovkin, Danny Jacobs, you know, Toriano Johnson. Those performances were all at 160. So I told you on my channel, New Media, that I like the fight with Canelo and Derevyanchenko, but I like the fight with Charlo and Derevyanchenko better. They're both stylistically very good fights. However, Derevyanchenko, he hasn't done any of his big fights at 168. Plus, when you fight Canelo, there's usually other stipulations, same day weigh-ins and rehydration clauses. So why would I want to see Derevyanchenko where he hasn't proven anything at 168 versus if he fights Charlo, that's a step in the right direction for Charlo. That'll be the best name Charlo's fought at 160. Derevyanchenko's coming off a hell of a performance, and this is at the both guys' natural weight. So I liked it better. Now, Canelo, and I said that to say this, Canelo is now in a position where he's supposed to be the man, the face of boxing, and the rumored names for Canelo don't sound too appetizing or appealing. They're saying Canelo could fight Jason Quigley. Toriano Johnson was briefly discussed. I haven't really heard anything about that recently. They're saying maybe Caleb Smith, who a lot of people believe lost his last fight to John Ryder, or even John Ryder, who on paper lost but held a good account of himself. But even if it's John Ryder, he has 5 losses. And he's lost to a guy that Canelo blew through, like Rocky Fielding and other domestic level guys. His best win, or he wasn't given credit for it, against Caleb Smith. But he's also lost to guys that Canelo beat, like Rocky Fielding, lost to Billy Joe Saunders. But, you know, that's not bad. Billy Joe Saunders is a good fighter and a 2-division champion, etc. So now, because Canelo has this lucrative deal with DAZN and we're in a pandemic, I feel they're struggling with 7, maybe 8 weeks before Canelo's scheduled date, unless they move him off the September 12th date, to announce. And we don't even know who Canelo's fighting to this point. And it looks like Derevyanchenko has been scooped up from Charlo. So now what we're seeing is old media. They're trying everything in their power to make excuses as to why Charlo and Derevyanchenko ain't a good fight. But Canelo was just about to fight him outside of his natural division in 168. So old media is looking shaky and they're struggling. Now, I'm making this video because we have to set the record straight. There's a lot of people who are going out of their way to try to discredit Charlo versus Derevyanchenko, make it look like Derevyanchenko, took too much punishment in the Triple G fight, even though most people believe he won. There's, still have snarky comments like, about time Charlo stepped up, but they're not saying anything about Canelo possibly fighting Quigley, which is a less than desire, or a guy coming off a loss with 5 losses like John Ryder or Caleb Smith, who should have lost. They're not talking about that. But once again, when it comes to certain sides, like a black advisor, Al Heyman, African-American fighter like Charlo, seems to be like that's where all the energy is focused. Now, I'm also making this video because there's a lot of Canelo diehard fans, man fans, that have suggested that Canelo would only be fighting Quigley because everybody else is ducking him. And that excuse is about played out when it comes to Canelo Alvarez. Billy Joe Saunders was supposed to be Canelo's next opponent, but it doesn't sound like they're willing to pay him in a pandemic and pay Canelo. And they're saying Canelo's taking a pay cut. So you can see this is getting pretty bad. But Billy Joe Saunders withdrew his name, saying, I'm not dealing with this little time to prepare plus a pay cut. I'm out. Canelo's not going to use me. So, he took his name out of contention, between those two factors. Now Canelo's struggling with 7.5 weeks to determine who he's going to fight. Still hasn't been announced, pandemic or not. And now people are trying to justify these cheaper options, as they call them. And they're even saying that Derevyanchenko ducked Canelo. So that's the only reason why Canelo has to look at other options, because Charlo allegedly ducked Canelo because Oscar De La Hoya said that we offered Charlo a fight. Caleb Plant allegedly, let Oscar tell it, has ducked Canelo, but we don't really see no offers. Now they're saying that Derevyanchenko ducked Canelo, even though Canelo's team had an opportunity to fight Derevyanchenko before Golovkin last year, but they couldn't pay him what he wanted. And he said he made more money fighting Golovkin than fighting Canelo, which is unheard of when you're fighting on the same platform. Neither of the fights would have been pay-per-view since it was on the DAZN platform. So how is Golovkin, a number 2 ranked guy, going to pay you more money if you're a Derevyanchenko than fighting Canelo, who's supposed to be the face of boxing? None of this stuff is making sense, but we're here to fact check. Shout out to Boxing Insider. They have an article you guys see right here. Boxing Insider. I will link this in the description. So the notion that Canelo can't, he has to pick Caleb Smith, who people believe lost his last fight because Derevyanchenko, ducked him. Look at what it says. Sergiy Derevyanchenko on supposed Canelo Alvarez showdown. Quote, this is a direct quote from Derevyanchenko out the horse's mouth. This is not ego talking. This is not an outsider. This is an interview that they did. Link in the description. Sergiy Derevyanchenko on supposed Canelo Alvarez showdown. Quote, his side did not give me an offer. It was only talk. So boom. They're saying, them being the Canelo man fans, they're saying that Derevyanchenko somehow ducked Canelo to go fight Charlo. So we'll see what Derevyanchenko had to say with the assistance of my trusted assistant, Money Penny.
Sergiy Derevyanchenko on supposed Canelo Alvarez showdown. His side did not give me an offer, it was only talk. Sergiy Derevyanchenko versus either Canelo Alvarez or Jermall Charlo has been the worst kept secret in all of boxing. The middleweight contender is coming closer and closer to making his decision on whom he will take on in the fall. Although his choice is still up in the air, Charlo appears to have an edge. For fans of the sport, choosing Charlo over Canelo would seem almost impossible. A matchup with Canelo not only brings more eyes to the television screen, but it also fattens his opponent's wallets. Still, even with the notoriety and extra zeros in his bank account, Derevyanchenko has given Charlo the edge. His reasoning behind it is simple. Charlo appears to be serious about fighting him. Canelo says yes, he wants to fight, said the middleweight contender to BoxingInsider.com. But his side did not give me an offer. It was only talk. Over the past several months, Canelo has found it increasingly difficult to land a dance partner for his September date. Fighters such as Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders have complained that they have been lowballed in the negotiations. But for Derevyanchenko, he believes the pound-for-pound star never wanted to step into the ring against him. A marketing ploy would best describe how Derevyanchenko and his trainer Andre Rozier feel about the stunt that Canelo and his team pulled. The intrigue surrounding Derevyanchenko went through the roof with his last ring appearance. In October of 2019, Derevyanchenko pushed current middleweight belt holder Gennady Golovkin to the limit. Most who saw that contest live at Madison Square Garden in New York City were incredulous when Golovkin was given the nod. Yet even with another championship stain on his resume, Derevyanchenko saw his stock soar. His performance against Golovkin, coupled with his skill set, has made him a fan favorite. But that newfound stardom was something that Canelo wanted to take advantage of, according to Rozier. "You have to go where the paper is real," said Rozier to BoxingInsider.com. It brought a lot of intrigue and excitement. People are looking forward to seeing Sergey fight after his last performance. They know that he comes and brings it. They almost used it as an advertising piece. Smart move by Golden Boy.
Wow. Thank you, Money Penny. So both Derevyanchenko and his trainer, New Yorker Andre Rozier, he just said people are looking forward to seeing Sergiy Derevyanchenko after his last performance, me being included. They know that that he comes and brings it. They almost used it as an advertising piece. Smart move by Golden Boy. Boom. So that shuts down right then and there the notion out of the horse's mouth from the person and persons who would be involved in their fighter fighting Canelo. They are on record saying that they basically used Derevyanchenko's performance and his name and the edge of his name and try to link him up with Canelo as an advertising piece. He also said this is Derevyanchenko in an exclusive. Nobody seems to be talking about this but me and new media. So shout out to Boxing Insider, link in the description. Canelo says yes, he wants to fight, said the middleweight contender, Derevyanchenko. But his side did not give me an offer. It was only talk. Right? So they're saying Charlo has the definite edge because Charlo, not only is he wanting to fight, they're handling the business. So you mean to tell me Golden Boy and a bunch of reporters used and kept saying Canelo versus Derevyanchenko is being eyed and sources say this at 168. But at the end of the day, now we're finding out that Derevyanchenko never received that formality of an actual formal offer. How do you want to fight somebody if you don't send them a formal offer? Like, you're just supposed to have a verbal agreement and then that's it. So obviously Golden Boy is struggling with Canelo at this point. They say Canelo is mad at Golden Boy, but this is all damaging to the DAZN and Canelo brand and to the fans who have backed this. They said that Canelo wants to fight the best. That's what Golden Boy said. But Derevyanchenko is a better name than Quigley, especially with the momentum he carries from most people believing that he beat Golovkin, right? But Derevyanchenko just told you in an interview, which I will link in the description, I never got no offer. He said they talked about it, but I don't think they were serious. I don't think they really wanted to fight me, because if they really wanted to fight me, they would have talked about it. So what makes it worse is Canelo already talked to the Derevyanchenko team last year, right after the Kovalev fight fell apart, right? And this can all be corroborated, right? All of it. Hold up. Canelo Alvarez stripped IBF. So you had Golovkin, who forfeited the IBF. This is too easy. Smash the like button. You had Golovkin, when Canelo failed a drug test with the clenbuterol, Golovkin said, "I'm still fighting on Cinco de Mayo," despite Canelo, can't fight. So Golovkin was told by the IBF, which he had that belt at the time, "Hey, if you still want to fight on Cinco de Mayo, cool. But we're going to move your mandatory out of the way because you had a big fight with Canelo. Seeing how you don't have that, we're going to strip you unless you fight him." Triple G begged for Avanes Martirosyan voluntary defense, knowing he was going to fight if Canelo was allowed to fight in September. So when Golovkin went into the second Canelo rematch, he was one belt short from the first fight because he got stripped of the IBF for failure to comply. He should have, instead of fighting Avanes Martirosyan, he should have given Sergiy Derevyanchenko an opportunity. And you know what? Let me pull up a separate window, so just so you guys know this new media stuff, what it means and that it's real. Because once again, I don't just tell you my opinion. I'm showing you. Gennady Golovkin stripped of IBF middleweight title after not agreeing to mandatory defense. Golovkin was mandated to fight, guess who? Sergiy Derevyanchenko. This was June 6, 2018, CBS Sports. So once again, I don't just speak about it, I be about it. So Golovkin was told, Canelo failed a drug test, you were going to fight him, now you got to fight your mandatory. He chose to fight Avanes Martirosyan under the impression that if he got past Martirosyan as the champion, he would have to fight Derevyanchenko next. But he knew he was going to fight Canelo next. So since he didn't fight and he kept Derevyanchenko waiting, the IBF is pretty strict. So they're like, nah. And they stripped him, which is what you're supposed to do. Right? So instead of a pointless, meaningless HBO fight with Avanes Martirosyan, Golovkin should have been fighting Derevyanchenko. And then when you finally watch Gennady Golovkin, when he had no reason, not last year when he fought Derevyanchenko, he's already had ducked him. He had already avoided him once. So at the time, and he was no longer a champion. So he literally had zero reason to not fight him on DAZN because he was the number 2 guy and Derevyanchenko was number 1 guy, and it's for a vacant belt. So how do you have a beltless guy turning down the guy he already avoided the previous year? So it would have made Gennady Golovkin look extremely bad had he not fought Derevyanchenko. Now you guys can see the DAZN curse. So back to it. Golovkin ducked Sergiy Derevyanchenko and faced Avanes Martirosyan with no intent of fighting Derevyanchenko because he knew he was going to fight Canelo because he got a slap on the wrist, small 6-month suspension with no fine. And that's what he did. Canelo versus Triple G. But he didn't carry the IBF belt to the second rematch with Canelo because he got stripped of it, as I'm showing you. Then Canelo, he was supposed to fight on the WBC side, Jermall Charlo. And he didn't do that. So the WBC concocted this plan with Team Canelo and made him a franchise champion, a brand new position that absolved Canelo of any duties or responsibility that boxing has never seen. So he got to avoid Charlo. So he could have fought at 54 when he was back there. Then he had stalled negotiations with Kovalev that didn't work out. And then you see the articles. He went to Derevyanchenko, but he only gave himself a little bit of time. And it says Canelo's IBF title stripped away. You see that? After talks with Sergiy Derevyanchenko stall. This was last year. So now they try to go back to Derevyanchenko and make it look like Derevyanchenko, the fans. Look, and this is all the technical information and stuff like that. The fans are making it look like Derevyanchenko has been ducking Canelo, but it was Canelo who last year got stripped of his title for not paying Derevyanchenko and getting the fight across, him and Golden Boy. which also made Canelo look extremely bad because in September, he had to abandon the Mexican date and fight in November because he tried with Kovalev, didn't pay him what he wanted. Kovalev pieced out and fought yard. And then he tried with Derevyanchenko, and you see Canelo got stripped from that too. So he didn't have an opponent for September. So that's part of the breakdown between Canelo and Golden Boy. They've been mishandling this boy for a minute, right? Now, rumors surfaced that Derevyanchenko and Canelo, you know, sources say that this fight could happen. And Derevyanchenko is setting the record straight, saying his side never gave me an offer. It was only talk. Where have we seen this play from Golden Boy before? Oh, yeah, that's right. When Caleb Plant had a hometown fight in Tennessee, and days before his fight, they said Canelo wants to fight Caleb Plant. And he's like, you ain't going to catch me on a quick. He hadn't even beat the Vicente Fainbutts guy, and Golden Boy is trying to act like that Canelo's been hunting Caleb Plant down, right? Horrible. This strategy from Golden Boy is horrible. Nobody believes it. How are you going to offer a guy a fight when he hasn't even got past his voluntary hometown defense? Meanwhile, they're talking about Canelo could fight Quigley, and they're talking about he could fight Quigley, right? And now he's had some time to relax. He's still in shape. You see him working out. And where's Golden Boy sending Caleb Plant an offer? The man's in shape. He's not off a quick turnaround because the pandemic slowed that down for everybody. And now you hear no calls to Caleb Plant since Canelo wanted to fight him so much. But before his last fight in Tennessee, they made it like Canelo wanted to fight Caleb Plant. Like I told you, it's cap. It's cap. He's in shape. Everybody's had time to rest with the pandemic. And now he ain't getting no offers. De La Hoya tried this with Charlo. He said that Jamal Charlo, you know, we reached out to somebody, and that alleged somebody, which he never said was Al Heyman, the main guy you would go to for PBC fighters to fight if you want to get granted permission to fight a PBC guy, their advisor, right? And then now he's like, the train has left the building. Now they use Sergiy Derevyanchenko, a third PBC fighter's name, and they're making it look like, and the fans are making it look like Canelo really wanted to fight Sergiy Derevyanchenko, but he got scared and ducked and went over to fight Charlo, which looks to be the next order of business. But now he set the record straight. Golden Boy did not, his side, that's Golden Boy, Team Canelo, did not give me an offer. It was only talk. Wow. This is extremely bad. New media. It's a horrible look. You can't keep trying to pull the same magic trick over and over. So let Team Canelo or the Canelo radical fans, let them tell it. Everybody's just so trembling and afraid of Canelo that they're pricing themselves out and avoiding it. But they never even sent him an offer. So you use Sergiy Derevyanchenko's name. You use certain people in the media and told them that we're in deep negotiations with Derevyanchenko. But the man just came out and told you. And the quote is here. Canelo says, yes, he wants to fight, said Derevyanchenko, but his side did not give me an offer. It was only talk. I mean, and look at the article. Over the past several months, Canelo has found it increasingly difficult to land a dance partner for September. Fighters such as Caleb Smith and Billy Joe Saunders have complained that they've been lowballed in negotiations. Bro, where there's smoke, there's fire. So Golden Boy, they got Ryan Garcia complaining over his minimum or $200K for a fight and complaining he's not getting the names he wants. He said he wants Linares. He said he agreed to Javier Fortuna. He said he agreed to Campbell. And so far, he hasn't got any of them. Then you have Canelo mad at Golden Boy. And you have Golden Boy putting out to the media that Canelo wants to fight Derevyanchenko. And Derevyanchenko saying they say they want to fight, but they never sent me an actual offer. I mean, what more signals do you need? DAZN is absolutely failing. And I tell you guys all the time, content is king. Nobody cares about the fights you cannot produce. UFC, hats off to them. They're putting together big fights, pandemic or not. PBC, we don't know what they're dropping, but the rumors, I'll just leave it at that. they sound pretty good. You know, Charlo, Derevyanchenko, Tank's next fight, Arrow, but I gotta wait to see that they can actually accomplish those. UFC, they got, you know, allegedly Costa and Stylebender, Adesanya. They got at least guaranteed DC Cormier versus Stipe Part 3. Nobody cares about who Canelo wanted to fight. It's the same thing over and over. It's becoming a broken record. How are all these guys from Billy Joe Saunders to Caleb Smith to Derevyanchenko in the first negotiations to Derevyanchenko now saying that he's never received an offer to guys like Kovalev in the first negotiation? They're all complaining at the same thing, saying they are being lowballed. And you want me to not believe any of this stuff and say, oh, Canelo's team they're doing everything right for him and they're getting it done. Listen, we'll see who Canelo picks, but I had to address this video. I had to make another one. Canelo's team, according to Derevyanchenko, this is not a reporter saying, this is Derevyanchenko and his trainer saying we never received an offer and it was free advertising. They're using his name. Bad look for Canelo. We'll see who he picks. We'll see what Golden Boy can come up with. I'm out. Sign up for ESPN Plus, link in the description. It does help the channel when you guys click on that. ESPN Plus, home of a lot of original content. They got UFC, archive fights, boxing, archive fights, docuseries, documentaries, BTS, that's behind the scenes, and a ton of other stuff. You can get ESPN Plus as a standalone app, or you can bundle it. ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all 3 apps, one price, $12.99 a month. And it helps the channel so I can continue to create, keep dropping these unpacks and this heat. Keep buying and upgrading new mics. We going crazy. 2020 is lit. 2020, let's get it. Gang, gang. But as far as Canelo, I mean, it's just a bad look, bro. Everybody's complaining they're being lowballed. Billy Joe Saunders, they offered me a pay cut. You know, they offered me low money. Caleb Smith, the last negotiation before the pandemic, they offered me a low ball and then never came back to me. Offering Caleb Plant allegedly a fight when he has a fight scheduled, and then trying to make it look like he's ducking. Somebody allegedly from Charlo's team ducked Canelo, and the train is now left, but they didn't say Al Heyman. All these guys, all these promoters know if you need to make a fight, don't hit Charlo's cousin, don't hit his uncle, don't hit his trainer, don't hit his Instagram, hit Al Heyman up. It's clear to see that the process is being broken to save face. To save face. Same thing with Sergiy Derevyanchenko. He's an Al Heyman advised fighter. He also has Keith Connolly managing him. So you have to go through that proper channel of his advisor, Al Heyman. You have to actually send him an offer. They're using guys' name to, when they bring you back what you didn't order, to justify it, you know, to justify, oh, we have to fight Quigley because everybody's just terrified of Canelo. That don't work no more. New media. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.